Yo, what's up, everybody? So it's me, man. Iraq man. Yo, what's up, everybody? So we're bringing y'all a new series called The Recoil Therapist, hosted by me, Iraq Max. And today we're gonna be holding our first emergency therapy session on unfortunate grounds. Where today I plan on talking about school shootings, politics, and should our educators be armed? That seems to be a big conversation here in America, especially being that we just had a school shooting over at Apalcahee High School right here in Atlanta, Georgia. Well, the shooting occurred in Winder, Georgia, but it's Georgia nonetheless. So I wanted to just kind of come and talk to y'all for a quick second before these political activists and political politicians start turning this into a political plot twist. And that ain't what it is. You know what I'm saying? I think one of the politicians was like, well, the problem in America is gun violence is a health crisis or whatever he said. I'm gonna go pull the article up and drop it down here, but I don't.
Thank you, Alice. The U.S. Surgeon General has declared gun violence a public health crisis. Dr. Vivek Murthy, the nation's top doctor, issued the health advisory today. More than 48,000 Americans died from gun injuries in 2022. To drive down gun deaths, Murthy is calling on Congress to pass new firearms regulations, including a ban on automatic rifles, universal background checks for buying guns, and penalties for people who fail to safely store their weapons. In addition to new regulations, Murthy is also calling for more gun violence research and for healthcare providers to promote gun safety education during doctor visits.
I don't feel like that's the problem, because with the school shooting that we had yesterday, our law enforcement and the school resource officer who was on site actually handled the situation rather quickly. It was very unfortunate that lives were lost and children were injured, but nonetheless, we had swift action by law enforcement. Now, don't get me wrong, by no means am I saying we should continuously depend on law enforcement to protect us, because we all know all of them aren't set out every day to protect and serve. Like, I want you to be realistic for a second and think to yourself, when a law enforcement officer puts on that duty belt and puts on his gear in the morning to get dressed, is he walking out the house specifically to die for you and your family behind whatever tragedy you and your family could face? No. Even if I was a law enforcement officer, that would not be my duty every day to say, hey, I might not be coming home tonight because I'm going to be a hero and save somebody. Like, for real, be for real. Like, nah, that's not realistic. Our servicemen and women, that's different. You know, we signed that blank check to go put our life on the line for this country as a whole. And I think that's where a lot of my gripe is, that we went and signed that blank check to this country that is clearly falling apart right before our very eyes. And we have politicians that like to ostracize on gun violence because of certain scenarios when gun violence ain't the problem. So we're going to piggyback on this school shooting that we had yesterday, where the suspect was a 14-year-old kid. Now, if we want to talk about gun control, right, and taking guns out of law-abiding citizens' hands, at 14 years old, you are not authorized to go buy a weapon or walk around with a weapon. Like, yeah, somebody could buy one and gift it to you, but that's only in the comfort of your own home, right? So please elaborate with me and tell me, or elaborate for me and tell me how more stricter gun control would have kept a gun out of the hands of a 14-year-old who shouldn't have had a gun in the first place. I'll wait on it. I've seen numerous videos with children under the age of 16 getting caught with machine guns at school. Yes, machine guns. I'm talking Glocks with switches on them. Now, in the African American community, a lot of these kids are doing that for protection. Whatever. It don't matter. It don't make it no better. It don't make it an exception to the rules. It's not even a racial bias in my book. They are 14 and 15 with machine guns. Me and you can't have a machine gun. That carries prison time, federal time, if you will. But they riding around with that at school. And yet we got school shootings where they going in here shooting teachers and students. Like, come on, man. Some of the text message screenshots that I've seen from students who were actually at school yesterday, and the video clip I seen where the police were actually coming in the classroom doing the sweep. Some of the kids ain't never been exposed to guns. But yesterday, we had a tragedy where these kids were exposed to all kind of guns, heavy law enforcement presence, and also the death of their schoolmates and their colleagues. Imagine how they feel when they're gonna have to go back to school and all the emotions that they're going through. Man, these kids gonna need help. These kids gonna need help. There's already a whole bunch of parents on the line who are like, I don't really know if my kids should even attend public school. And then I seen the video that Gun Owners of America posted, and I'm gonna post it right here.
Again, what we need to do about demilitarizing our schools and taking police officers out of schools.
Obviously, the shooter was armed, and our school resource officer engaged him, and the shooter quickly realized that if he did not give up, that it would end with an OIS, or an officer-involved shooting. He gave up, got on the ground, and the deputy took him into custody.
So, with that being said, my question is, why aren't we taking this more serious when it comes to arming our educators? Now, don't get me wrong. I know there are a couple states who are actually taking it serious. There are a couple states who are pushing bills and agendas to arm the educators. Like, why? Why are we not doing that? Because one school resource officer ain't enough. It ain't enough. What happens today when you wake up and you got multiple active shooters? Yeah, I said it. What happens on that day? What happens on the day when you wake up and some of these illegal immigrants coming into this country right now due to open borders decide to go start taking over schools where your kids go? And they outnumbering their school resource officer 5-1, 10-1. And law enforcement and Uvalde still on that bullshit. And your baby in the school. Then you're going to be relying on your neighbor who been arming himself since Desert Storm to try to loan you a gun or loan you a hand to go in there and get your baby. Now all of a sudden gun control out the fucking window. It don't make sense to me. We should be doing that now. We should be arming more teachers. We should be putting more school resource officers in these schools. It's been going around for a long time. Put some of these veterans in there. Put some of these veterans in there that's highly trained. If you don't want to arm the teachers, give these kids some more protection. We protect everything else. We protect banks, right? We protect these crooked ass politicians, right? So why we ain't protecting these babies? Y'all can't make that make sense to me. Because all y'all sit behind these damn computer screens, y'all freaking keyboard warriors, y'all want to type, type, type. Oh my God, oh my God. These politicians get up there and talk about gun control and this, yeah, on the thing, second hand, we do need more gun control. For what? It ain't gonna stop shit. It's only gonna stop me and you from carrying guns. It's not gonna stop these active shooters from happening. It's not gonna stop these movie theaters from being shot up. It's not gonna stop these schools from being shot up. It's not gonna stop these churches from being shot up. They already got the guns, stupid. Like everybody calling for gun control, y'all, I don't care. It's not about gun control. We don't have a gun control problem. We are not hard on criminals. Point blank, period. We not hard on criminals. If we toughen up on these criminals, a lot of these gun control acts would be pointless, right? It's just my personal opinion. I'm do that. I'm old that. I don't really mind sharing my opinion with y'all. That's what I'm doing right now. But think about it. Man, these little kids run around with guns because they know that they juveniles. And a lot of things they do at juveniles is not going to make it to adult court unless they kill somebody, perhaps. Maybe kill you. I don't know. But they know that. That's why the older people that they look up to are giving them the guns to ride around with. Because they know if they get caught, it's just a slap on the wrist for the most part. And granted, under this bipartisan act where people 18, 19, and 20 have to go an extended background check, I know it's there to go and look up their juvenile history, but is it really helping? Because at the end of that 10-day period, if their background check don't come back, you can still transfer them the firearm. So if the counties and the federal government didn't do their due diligence, then what? Because let me tell y'all about that. With this school shooting that just happened here in Apalcahee, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. If I'm not, forgive me. But this. So apparently, the FBI had already knew about this kid. Y'all need to go back and pause it so y'all can read that. But the FBI had already paid him and his father a visit last year, 2023, because they had already found out online that he was making threats to go shoot up a school. So we fast forward a year later, being on the FBI watch list, and now we got to take him into custody because he actually went through on his threats. Like, he actually carried out what he said he was going to do. Like, come on, man. Be for real. So you telling me that extensive background checks are going to make a difference here? No. They not. They not. They just in the way. They not. So it's like, gun control ain't the problem. Because all these politicians are going to do, they don't really care about nobody who lost their life yesterday. They don't really care about these kids' emotional state of mind from yesterday. They don't really care how damaging that's going to be going forward. All they're going to talk about is gun control. They're not going to talk about none of the real problems that these kids are going to have to deal with and going to have to face. Like, these babies are important. Marvin Gaye said this shit 100 times. We need to save the babies. These crooked ass politicians got to go. Y'all got to vote them out. But y'all keep voting for the wrong ones because y'all buying that propaganda that they're selling y'all. Like, we're really damaging our kids today. Like, for real. They having to deal with problems that we couldn't even fathom. And then a lot of y'all adults are going home talking to y'all kids about problems that they don't need to be hearing. They don't need to be talking to you about it. You need to go consult with a freaking counselor. Not your child. Your teenage child. Who's already dealing with shit like puberty, girls, boys. Y'all gonna talk to them and listen to them talk about being transgender and paying for sex changes and shit. And then they turn around and go shoot up damn school. Welcome to America, right? Y'all really got this screwed up. For real. I just gave y'all a whole bunch of evidence just from the school shooting that happened yesterday, right here in the state where I'm from. Right here. So the real question is, what are we gonna do about it? I'm ready to start training teachers. That's me personally. I do a whole lot of Arm My Educator events right here in Georgia. Like, I'm all for making sure these teachers got guns, making sure these teachers know how to use guns. I don't know what you're doing. I don't know what your local politician doing. But I know what one of these presidential candidates about to do. I know what they're trying to do. And I really don't care what side of the fence you're on when it comes to politics or a presidential race. I don't care. It could really, I don't know, I could care less about who you vote for. Just make sure you vote the right way. Because what are their agenda to improving our kids' future? Because one day we're going to perish, right? We're going to perish, hopefully before these kids do. Hopefully these politicians do something about it before we lose more kids. Like the hundreds of thousands they already lost down at the border. Oops. I didn't mean to say that, America. Or did I? But nonetheless, they don't care, man. They don't care. See, the problem is they don't care because at some point or another, they're looking for these kids to grow up and become part of the system so that they can generate money off of them and get paid. Kind of like how they do adults. Either you go to prison or you go to the workforce and then you pay taxes on the money that's already taxed. Because in jail, you just, you know what I'm saying, you a dollar sign in jail. I mean, we getting free labor off your ass, 3 hots in the cot, you know? So letting these kids create a cycle of crime and giving them pats on the wrist, they know eventually they're going to move on to bigger and better crimes where they become part of the prison system. Incarceration in America is high as shit. That shit paying big money. Private prisons on the stock market, like that shit pay big money. Why else would Michael Jordan put money in on it? Why else would these politicians put money in on it? So when we're talking about gun control and why these kids get away with such things, that's why. Because eventually they're going to become a big fish. They got cases on everybody. The FBI watching these people, watch list. What good is a watch list if you ain't going to act on it? Because you're watching somebody on the watch list become a career criminal, and now you're going to watch people die. I get it. In war, there are going to be some casualties. So with that being said, what are we at war with in America to have so many casualties? And on that note, I'm going to conclude this emergency therapy session. It's your boy Iraq. Like, share, subscribe, talk. Let your voice be heard. Don't cower out behind that phone or that computer. Man, talk your shit. Be heard. That's a problem. A lot of y'all ain't being heard. A lot of y'all big bad wolves, but you ain't talking that shit. A lot of y'all all for it, but you ain't talking that shit. You want to turn the other cheek. I'm going to tell y'all, turning the other cheek, I ain't going to get you but so far. You got to become violent. Or do you? I don't know. But at the end of the day, man, you got to do something. You can't sit around and talk about problems with no solution. Bring some kind of solution to the table. Again, on behalf of Double Tap Coalition, man, we love and appreciate y'all. And this is going to conclude our therapy session for today. Like, share, subscribe, comment below. Let me know what you think. And I'm out.